Hello, my name is Parker Lentini. I'm 23 years old, and this is my story of being diagnosed with systemic onset juvenile arthritis in the first line of therapy. In the beginning, I was a very athletic kid until I was diagnosed with arthritis, and then that was all taken away from me. My first symptoms were the pretty usual symptoms. I had a lot of pain in my legs, and of course, we thought that was growing pains at first. Unfortunately, that lasted a lot longer than your average growing pains would last, so we started seeing the doctor. Then my next symptoms were a little bit unusual for arthritis. I had swollen lymph nodes, as you can see in the picture on the right, and I had a lot of fevers and rashes. We would go to the hospital regularly, but of course, as soon as we got to the hospital, all those fevers and rashes would just magically disappear. So, this would happen for about 2 years, and nothing. We wouldn't get any results. Going to the doctors, going to the hospitals. We would test for a lot of different diseases during that time, such as Sjogren's, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, even cancer. Until about 2 years later, I was 8 years old, and then 2 years later, finally, when I was 10, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And then about a couple months later, I was diagnosed with the systemic kind, partially due to the fevers and rashes, but also because I had pericardial effusion and interstitial lung disease. And as those of you with systemic know, it's because of the internal organs that most people get diagnosed with the systemic variety. My first sort of treatment for arthritis was not the norm. Most people with severe arthritis get shots and infusions and stuff like that. Unfortunately, my doctor didn't really believe in shots and infusions, so he put me on naproxen and prednisone. Um, and as I got worse and worse, we kept asking him maybe it's time to go on a biologic. And instead, he just kept upping the prednisone to the point where I was on about 180 milligrams of prednisone twice a day daily. I went from being about 60, 70 pounds to about 150 pounds in less than a year. And that was really rough for me. Of course, it's rough on the body, but it's rough on you mentally. Eventually, we switched doctors, and my doctor said if I waited much longer, I might have died because of how bad I was doing. Luckily, she right then and there put me on methotrexate and Enbrel. Fortunately, those drugs ended up not working for me. Throughout my lifetime, I've been on many different biologics. I've been on TNFs, I've been on IL-1s, I've been on IL-6s, and nothing has really worked for me super well. Um, I've been on Actimra, I've been on Alaris, I've been on Remicade, I've been on, gosh, you name it, I've probably been on it. But in 2012, I was put on a study. They asked me if I wanted to be on the rilonacept study. This drug had not yet been approved for pediatric rheumatology. It was, however, approved for periodic fever syndrome. To be on the study, I had to stop everything that I was on, all my medications. Um, so that was really hard for me. And during that time, I actually went into MAS, which is macrophage activation syndrome. Um, and I almost died at that time. And my doctor asked me if I wanted to continue the study. And I told her if it could help kids in the future, then it's worth the pain that I was going through then and there. Um, so I continued the study. I ended up getting placebo. And afterwards, though, I got the real drug, and that drug helped me longer than any drug has ever helped me before. About 3 years, which was pretty incredible. After that, I ended up getting more infusions. I got home infusions a lot. I've been on IVIG for many years, which is for immune deficiency. I have hypogammaglobulinemia, so I get IVIG for that. Originally, I got it in the hospital, which is a very long infusion. I had to get it over 24 hours, but now luckily I can get it subcutaneously at home, which is what you can see in the bottom right hand corner. I get it in my stomach. I give that to myself every 3 weeks, which is pretty awesome that you can get infusions at home now. But yeah, and currently I'm on Symphony Aria, which is what I'm taking right now, which is a once a month shot, which is pretty cool. I've also gone through a lot of different stuff with my ankles. They have been my worst joint. For a long time, I was in a wheelchair, about 5 years. I've gone through a lot of physical therapy, bracing, and orthotics, as you can see in the bottom left. And eventually, I had to go through a lot of different surgeries. I had bilateral reconstructive ankle surgery back in 2015, where they lengthened and shortened my ligaments, turned my tibia, shaved my heel, and put cadaver bone in my foot. Um, and that was on both sides, hence bilateral. Unfortunately, my body rejected the cadaver bone and it disintegrated, so they had to redo the surgery. This time they fused my joints and they used screws instead. Unfortunately, they did cadaver bone again. Unfortunately, the cadaver bone disintegrated, and leaving a gap in between where the cadaver bone was, I ended up bending my hand, or as you can see with my hand, I bended my ankle, and where that gap was, I bended it, torqued it, and snapped the screw. As you can see in the picture in the top right, that titanium screw snapped in half, so they had to redo the surgery again. All in all, I've had 7 ankle surgeries, 3 on the right foot and 4 on the left foot. It seems like a lot, which it is. No, I don't think any kid should have to go through 7 ankle surgeries, but I'm up and walking again, which I think is the important thing. So I look at it as a net positive. I've also done a lot of advocacy and research throughout my life. Like I said, I've been part of a study. I believe it was in 2016. I was Pharma's Research and Hope Award. They gave it to me, which was really cool. So I got to work with Pharma and do some videos and advocacy with them. I got to go to Congress up in Washington, D.C. and speak for my state, advocating for arthritis, which was really cool. I've also gone to the National Juvenile Arthritis Conference for the U.S., which is really cool. I've spoke at that conference many a times. I actually was the chair for the Young Adult Committee for the Juvenile Arthritis Conference, so I got to help out a lot of young adults doing that. And I was also the National Youth Honoree one year for the Arthritis Walk, which was really cool. So I really get to do a lot with advocacy, and this is all I think part of treatment. I don't think treatment is just, treating the disease with medications. I think it's also treating it via advocacy and relationships with other people that are going through the same thing that you are. Because I think that's important, not to be alone. I think it's important to also have people on your side that are there with you in reaching out. Overall, it's just a never-ending balancing act. Having those people that are with you, having that support, going through physical therapy. I mean, right now I'm going through something that's really tough. I've been on fentanyl for, if you don't know, fentanyl is a really heavy narcotic. I've been on fentanyl for 10 years. I started it when I went through that study. That's something they put me on when I went to Mass to get me through the study. And unfortunately, my body's been addicted to it since then. And just this year, I decided I don't want to be on it anymore. It's been 10 years that my body's been addicted. So I decided I am going to start weaning off of it. And it's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But this year, I have weaned off of it. And right now, I am on my last month of being on it, and during October I should be officially off of it, which has been incredibly difficult but incredibly satisfying. So, like I said, you just gotta balance everything. Take things one step at a time. I went backwards. Overall, I just think you gotta enjoy life to the fullest, and that's what I'm doing right now. I finally got back out again. I'm doing things with my family, and I even found a sport that I'm able to do now, which is disc golf. So you just gotta find out what it is you can do, and treat things the way that you feel like things can be treated. Whether it's through medication, whether it's through advocacy, whether it's through going out and having fun, there's different ways to treat different things. And you just got to find what works best for you. Like I said, my name's Parker Lentini. I'm 23 years old. I'm from the state of Florida in the United States of America, and I appreciate you listening to me speak.